Joel Selwood, in my opinion, has the closest to perfect AFL career of all time. After 355 games, Selwood finished with 4 premierships, one in his first season and one on his last game. Selwood is also a 6-time All-Australian, 3-time club champion and games record holder for the Cats, and the longest serving captain in AFL history from 2012 to 2022. Joel has also the most finals games played at 40 and has played in 259 wins and only 95 losses over his whole career. Growing up in Bendigo, Selwood was surrounded by talented footballers. His elder brothers, Adam and Troy, were also talented footballers, and having the presence of older siblings allowed him to quickly mature into the game. By 8 years old, Selwood was playing junior football with children 4 years older than him. And in 2005, AFL talent manager Kevin Sheehan dubbed Selwood the best 17-year-old in the country despite his ineligibility to be drafted. Unfortunately, the following year, Joel Selwood's season was cut short due to a knee injury and subsequent surgery. This hurt his draft stock, and a player who was a contender for pick number 1 would be given a chance by the Geelong Cats at pick number 7. Selwood would place himself among the greats in the game, known for his courage and hard style of play, highlighted by winning the Most Courageous award 4 times. Selwood played to his ability as a ball winner and inside midfielder, with tenacity and physical assertion. Selwood would also impact the way players draw free kicks, with his ability to drop legs and raise the arm to slip tacklers into a high tackle. This has sparked much debate over his career as to whether it's reckless or genius. Selwood did not consider himself to be the most skillful and fast-paced player. However, he would play to his ability to run hard, play the 1%ers, and tackle to impact the game. He has the most tackles in VFL or AFL history with 1,629 at an average of 5.1 per game. Now let's look at the 6 players who were picked up before Selwood in the 2006 draft. At pick number 1, Carlton selected Bryce Gibbs. Coming into the draft, Gibbs had placed 3rd in Glenelg's senior best and fairest, where he excelled against adult players who had AFL experience. He was selected as a ruck rover in the under-18 National All-Australian team, and the MVP for South Australia, of which he captained throughout the under-18 carnival. Despite Gibbs' father playing 253 games for Glenelg, he was ineligible for the father-son pick to Adelaide, and ultimately was picked up by Carlton and given the number 4. Gibbs was put in Carlton's leadership group without having played a game, and debuted in round 1 of 2007, kicking his first career goal with his first kick. In 2008, Gibbs played as both attacking midfielder and a tagger, excelling in both roles, averaging 20 touches and kicking 14 goals. In 2009, his midfield presence was accelerated and he would average 26.7 disposals that season in a stacked midfield featuring the likes of Chris Judd and Mark Murphy. In 2014, Gibbs won his first and only best and fairest for the Blues after averaging 24.8 disposals, 5 tackles and kicking 18 goals. That season, in June, Gibbs signed a long-term contract that would see him at the Blues until 2019. In 2015, Gibbs' season was interrupted by multiple injuries and suspension, managing only 10 games and having not previously played less than 21 games in his first 8 seasons. In 2016, Gibbs requested a trade home to Adelaide, but a deal was not able to be reached. This did not stop Gibbs from being a consistent operator in the midfield in 2017, where he kicked 17 goals and averaged nearly 27 touches per game. In 2018, Gibbs was eventually traded to Adelaide, where he played the remaining 2 seasons of his career. And in 2019, after 265 games, Gibbs called time on his career after struggling to maintain a consistent position in Adelaide's starting lineup. At pick 2, Essendon selected Scott Gumbleton. Coming from Western Australia, playing for Peel Thunder, the 197cm Gumbleton was described as a strong-marking, courageous and agile tall, who could play either end of the field and had a high level of endurance. He received All-Australian honours at under-18 level, after representing Western Australia in 2005 and 2006. Gumbleton's first 3 seasons in the AFL were marred by persistent injuries, limiting him to only 5 games, all of which were played in 2007. It wasn't until 2010 that Gumbleton would have a full pre-season and play 17 games, kicking 19 goals for the Bombers. This progress earned him a contract extension with Essendon. Unfortunately, He suffered another setback with broken ribs and a punctured lung during round 18, forcing him to miss the rest of the 2010 season. He wouldn't play until 2012, round 16, where he kicked 3 goals against Port Adelaide. Despite receiving long-term offers from other clubs, Gumbleton remained loyal to Essendon, signing a new one-year deal to stay with the club until at least the end of 2013. However, in October 2013, Gumbleton was traded to Fremantle in exchange for the 55th selection in the 2013 draft. Unfortunately, his time with Fremantle was plagued by injuries, and he did not make any senior appearances during his one season with the club. As a result, Gumbleton announced his retirement in 2014, after playing 35 games and kicking 45 goals. At pick 3, North Melbourne selected Lachlan Hanson. Prior to this 2006 draft, Hanson was highly regarded as one of the top key position players in his age group, and it was widely expected that North Melbourne would select him with their number 3 pick. Being a natural centre-half back, Hanson's physical nature drew considerable attention from media pundits, especially due to the rivalry between himself and Scott Gumbleton. During his debut year in 2007, Hanson appeared in 3 games, including a final against Hawthorn. However, injuries plagued him during the early part of 2008. He managed to return to North Melbourne in round 13 against Hawthorn and remained in the team for the rest of the season. In 2009, Hanson played the first 5 matches but suffered a severe hamstring tear during round 5 against Richmond, leading to 6 weeks on the sideline. The 2010 season saw Hanson starting in defence, but due to some injuries and poor form among the North Melbourne forwards, he was switched to the centre-half forward position and impressed with goal-kicking ability, scoring 23 goals. Despite facing some form and injury challenges in 2011 and 2012, Hanson remained a consistent presence in the North Melbourne lineup. The 2014 season was challenging for Hanson due to a chronic hip injury, limiting him to 18 games for North. However, he still managed to finish the season ranked 3rd in total marks for the club, despite missing 7 games. In the following season, he went surgery on both hips, leading to a delayed start in 2015. He made a successful return against Richmond and continued to perform well throughout the season, alternating between AFL and VFL games, but also having to take time off to recover from a concussion. The 2016 season saw Hanson playing 5 games only, including the team's elimination final loss. And in 2017, North Melbourne made the decision to delist Hanson, informing him that he would not receive a new contract for the 2018 season. And he had retired from the game, having played 151 games. Matthew Leuenberger was taken at pick 4 for Brisbane. In his early career, Leuenberger earned All-Australian selection as a ruckman after representing Western Australia at the Under-18 Carnival. He made his debut in 2007 and showed promise in his initial seasons. In 2009, he suffered a knee injury that sidelined him for the rest of the season due to complications from surgery. Despite injuries, he had a strong season in 2010 and 2011, displaying impressive performances in hitouts during 2011. However, ongoing injuries, including an Achilles injury in 2012, affected his playing time, and he missed significant parts of some seasons. In 2013, there was speculation about him being a trade target, and he re-signed with Brisbane mid-season. The 2014 season saw him sidelined again due to injury, but he made a comeback in the final round. In 2015, Leuenberger became the backup ruckman for Stephen Martin. He decided to leave the Lions at the end of the season and joined Essendon via free agency. During his time at Essendon, he played 29 games before announcing his immediate AFL retirement, despite being offered a new contract for 2019. Throughout his career, he played 108 games for Brisbane and 29 games for Essendon. Travis Boak was selected at pick 5. He had an impressive debut season in 2007, showcasing his skills early on and earning a NAB Rising Star nomination. He also played in the grand final against Geelong. Boak's strong form continued in the following years, and he was jointly awarded the John Cahill Medal in 2011 for the club's best and fairest. In 2013, Boak became the captain of Port Adelaide and had an outstanding season, earning All-Australian selection. His form remained consistent in 2014, earning him his 2nd consecutive All-Australian selection and finishing equal 4th in the Brownlow medal. Boak's role shifted between midfield and half-forward for a few seasons. In 2019, he returned to the midfield and enjoyed career best numbers, averaging 30 touches per game and winning his 2nd John Cahill medal. In the 2020 season, Boak had another standout year, earning All-Australian vice-captaincy and finishing as the runner-up in the Brownlow medal. In 2021, Boak played his 300th match, equaling the club's games record held by Kane Cornes. As of 2023, Boak still features consistently in Port's starting 22 and is the outright games record holder with a career average of 24 disposals and over 200 goals. Before we get to the final pick in this video, some notable players who were drafted after Joel Selwood in this draft include Jack Riewoldt, Sean Grigg, Shane Edwards, Todd Goldstein, Josh Kennedy, Tom Hawkins, and Robbie Gray. Mitchell Thorpe was selected by Hawthorn with pick 6, ahead of Joel Selwood. Thorpe made his debut in round 15 in 2007 against Richmond, impressing with a goal, but suffered an injury that kept him out of the following week's match. He wouldn't play his second game until round 2 of 2009, as a late replacement. Unfortunately, Thorpe had to undergo surgery for a broken bone in his left foot, which required a pin insertion. This injury sidelined him for the rest of the 2009 season. After no club expressed interest in him during the AFL trade week, with injury and queries over his attitude, Hawthorn delisted Thorpe on the 28th of October 2009 after only 2 career games.